Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of Gans processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
The cosmic flight systems is one of the steps that will bring maturity to it. And we especially set up to do this in the past 4 or 5 weeks. And now it's been set up primarily that is ready to be adopted, to be part of the operation of what we call cosmic flights. As we have finished with your flight testing people, your mobile people are the only ones which go through this process. Those of you who signed up to become mobile, now we ask you, those of you who want to be into what we call the moon and the space development, you'll become gradually involved. We'll bring you in the way we brought, the way you came, the way we interacted with you, the mobile, what we call passengers, will be brought in, moved from one place to another, and gradually we establish a new flight system, new arrival system, because you don't fly anymore. You arrive at the destination. This is part of what we call progressive development of the knowledge for us to be. When I walked into the system this week, it was amazing what I could see. When I walked in and I felt the field forces of it, it was amazing how much, how deep I could feel to not the essence of the physicality, but to the essence of the soul. Mankind is ready to take that a step up. And as I said, the new system's getting finished, hopefully in the next 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending what our people do. We'll start the mobile system transmutation. As I said, our first passenger has been chosen. We have moved certain things to position in Austria that we can deliver, we can go through the process. Then we inform you as a mobile, what we call test people, what you need to do. We ask you clearly what you need to do, where you want to go, and what you have to do before we move. You live in Los Angeles and you want to be in Tehran. You have to follow a process. And systematically, we get you deregistered in the United States with American customs, and we enter you into territory of Iran in hand of the Iranian authorities. You want to go to Japan, it's the same. You want to come from Beijing to Austria is the same. Till we establish a system that the governments feel free with a movement. The biggest enemy, the biggest block for us coming to this point will be the government trying to control, trying to keep hold, trying to confine. There is one guarantee we will give. Anyone who enters these systems and anybody comes out of these systems will be peaceful, will not be an addict, will not be an alcoholic, and will never commit a crime. This is the cornerstones of the new development of the new technologies. Step by step, we have to, in a way, gain the confidence of what we call different part of this planet in each other, and in that process, that we don't rely on the world leaders. As I said to the American officials a few days ago, which of the world leaders you want to bring in to stop the mayhem? You don't need to take them to The Hague and go to rigorous ways of months and years of court. We want the world leaders, we move the world leaders to where, not the Americans, but where the society as a whole sees them to be fit to be there. Do we need to move the head of the states, which are what we call unjust, to a position of for them to be standing to their soldier position and return them back to their position? No man, no depth of this planet or universe is far away from our control and movement. The reality of the knowledge and the way we will touch will be shown in the coming weeks and months. As some of you know, we have started the shipment of the Universal Enhancement units as of this month. And this is parallel to what is being achieved and what is going to be done. 6 units are getting set up to go to Arizona. 3 units will end up in the Keshe Foundation, what we call center in Germany. And then the production, which already be paid for the materials, the assembly of will start in December and in January. And we start delivering what we call the enhancement units as we have started this. We'll see, we understand, and we process the whole technology in Mongo. I hope humanity is ready for the change to come. And I hope humanity can understand the change that we bring. And I hope sooner than later, the world governments come to agree that we need to govern as one nation to be able to be governable. Otherwise, there is no way on this planet that you can hide and duck. Development and delivery of the what we call cosmic systems, which can contain the conditions of man's life in the universe, is in the process of completion. We can change, keep the dimension of the cosmos fields as it is for all the universe, and change the parameters inside to the earth level, to the level of the fields of a dog, a man, a tree. You want to feel how a tree feels? Now, with the completion of the dimension of cosmic peace, in a way to hold on, to get everything done, is possible. You wanted to know how it feels to be from another point and place in the universe. You change the environment inside the gravitational field string and the heartbeat and the condition of the field forces of the gravitational magnetic field of the position and time and space, you will arrive there instantaneously. As I said, many of you came at the beginning, and I repeated that many times, when you said you went to the depth of the ocean, when the first knowledge seekers came and said they could feel the moon and they could pick up the stones, we did not laugh. We just learned from you how far our technology is correct. You can feel. Now we have to give you the physicality. Physicality could not be confirmed on the moon and Mars because we don't have the cosmic ray levels that it could support the life on the moon. Now we can. Now we have. And very soon, as I said to our colleagues in NASA, you choose. We'll take you there. And this is the understanding of the totality of knowledge of the creation. In the bandwidth of the strength of the life of the man in the dimension of the soul, we have the dimension fields of the universe and the universe. We didn't know. As we didn't know that our soul is in the center of our body, now we can move to that position instantaneously. It's for man to understand the dimension of the field forces of his creation, and for man to understand the power that this new technology will give to man. Man will live for thousands of years, millions of years on the planetary Earth dimension and size. We'll try to explain this in more detail, that gradually in the next 4 or 5 weeks, those of you who have registered for what we call mobile system, to be prepared to move. We don't want to bring you here to Austria. After the first 2 or 3 trials, we want you to appoint a place and a time on this planet. And then we move you. Then we put you there and then. And we allow you to be in that position. And you have to be prepared that whatever you receive at point of arrival, you have to accept, because that was your wish. You live in the cold places in Canada, and you wish at that time to be in California or Florida with your son or your brother. You will end up suntanned, perfect American accent, and with the clothes to be on the beach, which your soul chooses to be to cover itself. It will be very interesting. How many of you will make an appointment with your brother or your lover in the deep oceans, in a submarine, and how many of you will go in the depths of the caves to see if I can be seen, I can be taken through the earth materials? Test us. The only thing is, you can fail. Part of your leg will be on the top of the mountain and the rest of you down in the cave. It will be fantastic to see how fast you generate the leg you missed on top of the mountain. But this is now a reality, as the Frenchman felt the push of the soul, of the physicality of the journey. I, as I always say, welcome you to the new world of science, technology, and understanding of the creation of life on this planet. And I hope we'll see the end of all the miseries and mayhems for the human race.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 536th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Cremond, and I'll be host once again in this wonderful series of weekly workshops with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, which has been ongoing for over 10 years now. And we carry on today as well. And welcome, Mr. Keshe, to another Knowledge Seekers workshop here.
Thank you very much. Good morning, day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, welcoming you back to exciting cycles of teaching, exciting cycles of understanding, and hopefully a bigger scale of knowledge of creation to be unraveled in bits and parts and sometime together, and in how we bring this knowledge that we can all understand. As I always say, somehow Rick chooses the intros randomly from somewhere, and then that sets the base for what is to be discussed or to be thoughts in the sessions of when the intro comes. This intro is amazing if you listen to it and what it is said and what it was set up. Many of you joined us last Friday in what I call one of the most amazing sessions, monthly sessions. We gathered a lot of information, as usual, in the past few months. And in a way, we are ready to test for the first phases of the transmutation. What this means? It means we have gathered enough knowledge, and now we're bringing enough technologies around it that makes it possible for us to create the condition of transmutation. Which means we're going to attempt to set the first base this month, and hopefully next month give the first opportunities to a few to go through this process. The June session, in a way, it will be collective but individual. We try to allow a couple of knowledge seekers to try to transmute, and then we'll see what we learn from it, that we get ready for what I call the full transmutation. As we learn more, we adjust our systems and technologies to be shown in Washington. The process of transmutation, it's important for all of us to be the passengers of the universe, as I said before, as transportation is the systems for planetary system, for man to travel in his planet and in solar system, if he decides. And both systems, parallel to each other, getting developed, getting opened up, and getting tested. In Iran, we'll show the flight system, physical transportation. In Washington, we show transmutation, which is the energy transfer. Transmutation by transfer of energy of the body of the man, not only physicality, but the soul, the information, the emotion, the memory as a full package. We are testing, and we are just about to move into a new dimension of transmutation, that once our test completed in the next few weeks, we can literally bring those knowledge seekers who volunteer to be the first transmitters to test. As we said before, we have managed to see transmutation earlier on this year and just before end of last year. And so understanding that we have the knowledge of transmutation, now building a system to deliver it for a human being is the next step of development in the next few weeks. Which means we have to create the condition of the air you breathe, which connects you to universal systems. The condition of the structure of your body and the emotion and the fields together in one go. This needs, and this in a way is an art, which means you understand in how to create the atmospheric condition of the moon, for example, gravitational magnetic field of the moon, that the soul accepts the new condition for manifestation of new physicality. In the test by the end of this month and in June test, we try to keep the transmutation confined to Earth. In a way, we replicate the condition of the planetary system as it is. Then it's for those who have been with us and tested, that they've been to the position, this time to manifest themselves at the position, time and place. The complexity of such a move, it brings a totally new dimension to the science and technology. Up to now, the world of science was engaged in moving an atom, an electron, and call it whatever they could to move one from one position to another. The world of science never understood the completion and the totality of what it needs to be done for such a, what we call, a structure, for such a possibilities. And this allows us in a way to create, understand, and develop new technologies. As I've said before, when today the scientists want to move, and they are working on, is how to move an electron of an atom of hydrogen to another position. They think they achieved it. But what has not been understood, you can move many electrons, combination of molecules, without moving in a single electron, by creating a field which all keep their work intact. In a way, we create a dimension, a new structure of what we call womb of the mother, which means we create a new dimension in magnetic field of the environment. And in this position, by replicating this in another position, not necessarily containment, we can move the whole structure back in another place. In a way, we move the box, not an electron. In this process, we achieve transmutation in full tact. But as you arrive in a new environment and the field is slightly different, then the electrons and protons and molecules of the same body attain a new position in respect with each other. So we deliver you according the way your structure sees fit to the new position. Transportation is a physical condition where you get you from A to B. You're limited to hundreds and thousands of years of man life to get to a position, or hours of traveling across this planet to get to a position. With developing what we call the cosmic ray units, which now we have tested, and you took it with you, some of you, as the new Bezos with the headphone, and with its base, is the backbone, the structure of this technology. Which means once we have completed this, now we know it works. Now we add this parameter together to it, and then you can see a new system of transmutation. It's a new system of moving things, but holding on to the structure. And because you work within the structure of the cosmic rays, when you land, arrive, you accept magnetic field changes of the environment, not the condition of the physical, the air, the temperature, and the rest. This is the difference between what we call transmutation and transportation. In transportation, the speed of the air, how much resistance you have, how fast you can go, what machinery you have, dictates when and how you arrive. In transmutation, we play with the magnetic field of the environment. So when you arrive, the field, the strength of the environment affects directly the structure of the, what we call the body of the man, the box, the cat, the dog. Here you feel hot and cold. Here you feel Japanese and Chinese when you move from New York to China or Japan. Here you change the clothes of the man. Here you change the soul of the man, to manifest itself in interaction with the condition of the environment. And this is what is important for our knowledge seekers to understand, how the division between the two systems clearly is set out as of this now. In transportation, which we'll show in Iran, will be this. In Washington, we'll show this. And this will be done in the presence of Iranian, what we call authorities in Washington. Be it the Iranian president, be it the head of the nation, and many other nations, this will be shown. The same as in Iran. We'll invite the head of the nations to come to understand crossing this planet is minute job, not hours. And crossing nations is instantaneous in this too. This is the change. This is the new understanding that the man has to decide. Where we land, do we want to still carry on with our vehicles, or do we carry on with transmutation through the emotion, through the fields, and what we call the energy center of the man, which is the soul of them. So you understand the difference. You understand why when we say transmutation and transportation are two different matter points. Many people will travel this dimension. Many people will try to do this because this to them at this moment of time is too heavy to understand. I can accept going from Tehran to Washington in 10 minutes, a faster plane. But I don't know if I can accept to the new look I'll get in New York when I arrive, or in Washington, with transmutation. With the American authorities, I would understand the gentleman landed is the head of the Iranian nation as the president, because he'll manifest using the transmutation in the dimension of the fields of the essence of the culture of the land, in the emotion of the soul of the land, would he still have that beard? Would he be carrying the turbine? Would he be there in the color of the clothing and the thoughts which he left Iran? The biggest problem for the Iranian president to travel from Tehran to Washington is, what would happen when I arrive? Would I be recognized as the head of the nation? And then you understand, with the transmutation, there is no kingship. There is no headship, because you appear as a soul, as an energy transfer, and equal to the others who transmit that video. Now you understand the dilemma of the nations in the coming time. I promise you, most of the world leaders will choose transportation as the transmutation unravels the truth about it. Most of the ordinary men of the understanding of the technology will transmute. We don't care if we are computer scientists in Washington, in Tehran, or back in China. Because it's the essence of the knowledge we carry in our soul. Does not matter how we look. But to man as a president, he needs the razzmatazz, the turbine and the rest. And the president of America needs his bodyguards to show who he is something. Now you understand, the division will come, that the ordinary man will take over governments, because they govern by themselves. And now you understand the changes which is about to come. In a way, the Tehran conference or Iran conference is herald to opening the door for the next phase, that all nations are one. And we deliberately chose United States, that it shows no one is superior than the others, as all gathered to be under one flag of the Keshe Foundation flag. Science in exchange for technology. Exchange of the knowledge equally amongst each other, that no nation is superior to the other, as is one nation. This will be the biggest dilemma for the world leaders to transmute. This will be the most favorable things for the man of the earth. Those leaders who are truthful, they are what they say, will choose this. Those who have to hide will choose this. The process of understanding the technology is important. The process of understanding the changes in science and technology is important. The changes is inevitable. The knowledge is with us. As I was just telling Rick before, the first transmutations have already been completed. We are not looking to transmute. We have to understand the process. Our team has to understand how to achieve that process. Transportation by matter state will need reactors. Understanding of the gravitational fields in matter state. Transmutation needs understanding of the cosmic rays and their gravitational field forces. The transmutation system will be what we call in the hand of our people in matter of days. How they understand it, how they convert the knowledge to tools and systems that later on this knowledge is imprinted in the soul of the man, then every man can transmute. In the next weeks, we'll concentrate on this part of the technology. This part of the technology was completed in Iran, and we have tested many times. The understanding of the process of transmutation, the understanding of the methods of the transportation, and how to cross one to another will be engaging men of science for thousands of years to come. In initial stage, many people will double in both directions, in both systems. And then gradually, a consensus will set how we travel, the way we travel, where we use transmutation and where we use transportation. In the coming time, as we strengthen the knowledge of our knowledge seekers, will endeavor to, in some teachings live, to show the manifestation of the transmutation. Colonization as a human race, physicality is a difficult task. Colonization through the soul transportation of the man is the easier way, practical way, where man taps into the energy of the universe through cosmic rays and cosmic fields and does not depend on a banana and orange in the lab. The process of transmutation for us is completed. Just the time it takes our team to understand how to achieve it, how to design a system to do it, which is a matter of days and weeks. The process of transportation was completed in 2008. It's just playing with it to keep busy till the governments become knowledgeable and get ready for the process to come. A combination of the use of the transportation and transmutation will give man the confidence of traveling across the universe, hiding inside a physical dimension while you're learning about the environment. This is what it is when you travel with a transportation system. You literally hide inside another structure till you understand the environment which the structure is in. Then you transmute to the new position. Or you do the reverse. In a way, this is that life-gaining container for man to switch, where the planetary system or the environment which you want to live is here. You transmute into dimension of the safety of a physical structure, understanding it, and then you transmute further. Sometimes you don't need this interim as you learn completely, but for the time being, you can even use this to land on the new environment, then you can transmute. These are the process of the teaching. Man has to learn step by step. And now we have opened this here. Fuel, matter energy, cosmic rays, and cosmic fields. You have to learn how to convert from one to another, and sometimes use one inside the other. Now, as I said, past few weeks, we start laying the path, the roadmap of the man to become a member of universal community through his soul, not through his physicality, through his central energy, where universal community cannot be on the way according to the matter state for billions of years from the other side of the universe to come here, where using transmutation magnetic field is instantaneous. There's a lot to learn. A lot to learn. How to hop from one point to another, that you see the cosmic ray of this planet, but you don't see the other one you're going to. And from here, you can see this. So you have to learn the process of hopping. It's like changing train stations to another train. In the cosmic rays, you work with the sight of the vision of the fields, feel the strength of understanding in a not a visual sense, but in magnetic field sense, the connection of the fields to what they connect, that you can pick up the strength of to reconnect to. Now you understand, in the past 3 or 4 weeks, slowly, step by step, I'm opening your eyes, your understanding into how the future will hold, what the future is, and how man is developing the process to achieve this position. The technology in the dimension of this part makes technology in this part obsolete. In weapon technology, in defense technology. And because we achieve this part, we have already made this part as a tool to kill and defense and military obsolete. As I said to man of military very recently, let the Americans develop the latest weapon technology, let them develop the latest nuclear. Once you prevail with the fields of the plasma, nothing works. Everything can be diluted. When I was looking at the instance a few weeks ago, when so many missiles were thrown at another nation, by another nation, and 7 nations get together to see how with the anti-missiles, anti-rockets, firework to stop. I said, what a primitive way the man has chosen to kill, and what a primitive way man has chosen to defend. With understanding the process of the transmutation, understanding the creation of the cosmic fields, you just need to create a fields, and all those rockets will drop off like nothing. In a way, you can't even find them because they dilute in the fields. The combination of the 7 nations succeeded in 99% success in destroying what's so-called the offensive. And that 1% getting through has destroyed the most strongest military base in the world. With this technology, when such a system is fired, with understanding the cosmic ray, the success is 100%, and they never arrive anyway. And if you are clever enough, you never let them to fly to start with. and there'll be no sign of them. Understanding the plasma technology and its power of application makes tools of war on this planet obsolete. And you cannot use the knowledge in plasma technology in what we call transmutation for a tool to control, to kill, because it's a balancing field. Now you understand how complete the process of creation will be when the man understands the process and the difference between the transmutation and transportation. Where transmutation will bring peace, reaches the soul of the man, elevates the man to the position of understanding the creation, and transportation still gives man the shackles of physicality and all it goes with it. In the coming weeks, hopefully by the end of June, when we start showing the first test in transmutation, you will come to understand how far is the strength of your own inner field. How far you can handle your own field. How much you can dictate to what to absorb from the environment. How much you allow the structure of the fields and what we call inertia to create a new dimension of you. The biggest shock for those who go through transmutation is, in a way, accepting the physical dimension due to the what we call gravitational magnetic field that time, place, and position creates. It'll bring such a shock to man the first few times till he learns this is the new way, this is what I have to accept, and how I can live within it. It is an amazing feeling when the body of the man, the physicality which you take in a new position, is different with the emotion which the soul of the man has learned to work with in the dimension of physicality of the origin. When you observe and you watch your fingers, you know they're attached to you, but they're aliens to you. And you have to get used to it, because when where you were, it was black skin. Now you landed in Washington and it's white. The eyes were brown and now it's blue. Is this me? But you still carry the knowledge, the emotion, the understanding as part of your transmutation, of your origin. It takes time to understand this, and you become good at it the more it happens. As you have listened to the other teaching of the past time, I've been through it many times. And each time the feeling is the same. Recognizing this finger, I have to get used to. These clothes, I have to get used to, because this is what I chose to be in. And many of you, in the next few weeks and months, will go through this process. It's hard to explain. It's not like going to a fancy fair show and just changing your clothes and appearing as a woman, as a clown, or whatever. This time is real. It's you. And you have to accept it because you have no choice. You chose the path, unless you want to go back and become that black man and everything else which you were living in. Even it's a happy life. No one said the white skin is a point of happiness. Actually, there's more misery in that than the original color. Because you had to accept many changes to change color. Now you understand. The journey has started. There is no way it can be stopped. And it's for knowledge seekers to understand and to develop the art of transmutation to transportation. You travel from Tehran to Washington in milliseconds as transportation. There you have to stand on the street on what we call the sidewalk and ask for a yellow cab to take you somewhere. You want to show your presence to your lover, to your son, to your daughter when you arrive. You cannot stand in the room and shout, "Hi, I'm here," but you can't see me. Your daughter doesn't know the art of transmutation. She wants to go to a restaurant and have a chelo kebab. So you have to accept the physicality. And your biggest problem is to explain to her, this blonde hair, blue eyes is daddy, but the American version. Or through your soul, you reflect the image and the condition to your daughter that she sees you the same as your dream time you see the mother in that essence as you. So you have to transmute and get in the taxi to go for a chil kebab with the daughter in the taxi. Because you went there to feel, to touch, to show the love of the father. But unfortunately, it cannot be a phantom. You have to give yourself a point of manifestation, a confirmation of those who are still physical. Now you understand how and the way the governments have to adjust. And this is part of the biggest problems for many governments in the next few years. And this is why we created one nation, one planet, one race, one structure to operate through the soul of the man. You call it the Universal Council. And one structure to operate through the physicality of the man, what we call the Earth Council. Now you understand how far ahead we have set up the structure for the eventuality of what is now in hand. One, connect and adjust and rules through this, and one through this. And somewhere the two have to come to communicate. Now you come to understand more how advanced everything has been planned. 5 years ago, when we set up the Universal Council's operation and the mandate, and the Earth Council and its mandate was for today. When we introduced the transmutation and transportation, where through this, man connects with the universal community through the energy fields of the cosmos, cosmic rays and cosmic fields, where this rules for man in the dimension of his physicality on this planet. Now you understand. These two will come into operation in the next few weeks and months. Then you understand the position of satellites. Now we're at that point. Now that we have achieved the first transmutation in the complete essence of the transfer of the physical body, once our team understands, once our team translates the information in the physical system that you can do it till you learn it, then it's our job to lay the rules till you come in and the conformity becomes part of it. You have to understand the process. And foremost, you have to understand the responsibility of such a knowledge in your hand. You have to understand the gravity of what this knowledge will bring from it. And you're responsible for it. And this is the process which we have explained many times. Now the systems are here. The knowledge is getting understood fully by our scientists, and we are on the verge of delivering these in the coming weeks and months. I hope, my biggest wish is that no one dares to abuse the knowledge of their transmutation in the transportation against the will of those who live in a transportation dimension, in a dimension of physicality. Now you understand where the teaching has been going. And as I said, step by step, I open the knowledge to understand where you're going, what is about to happen, and what is your responsibilities. And in the coming weeks, in more depth, I open more. By the time we reach Iran, by the time we reach into Washington and then Moscow and then Brazil, we can complete to unite the nation of man. In China, we learned a lot. In Iran, we will deliver a lot. And in Washington, we bring the man to be one lot. The government understand there is no border. And what will be interesting is when we invite Iran military heads to join us in Washington in the Keshe Foundation conference. As much as we invite the Russians, the Americans, the Chinese, and the rest. For them to understand that there is no room for man of military on this planet unless to serve the humanity. You will understand more and more as we reach the point. As we have completed, and our team understand the completion of the transmutation, the transfer of the soul of the man, the transfer of the soul of the stone, the transfer of the man into transmutation to transportation, and then we give it the dimension of life. Then you understand why we introduced the materials, the cosmic materials, which is now. And then you understand what is the use of them. And how you can apply them to block fields, to receive, to transmute, and to transfer. We go for a break, we come back. And I hope today I made your path much clearer for you to understand where all these teachings in past months and years is more and more going to, and what dimension this is going to apply. Rick, if you take us to our usual break, and then we come.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for another teaching here. And just let me get my screen up. There we go. We are in the 536th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. We'll take a short intermission and be back with questions for Mr. Keshe. And once again, I remind our attendees, you'll have the opportunity to raise your virtual hand, and we can open your microphone if you would like to speak at that point. And also you can put questions in the Q&A or into the chats, and we will address them. Okay, see you shortly.
The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A space technology that allows us to work with the fields of the universe, creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions. It allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the body can follow to find their balance and elevate the whole of the man. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, technology of the future through advanced plasma knowledge.
Okay, we're back again at the 536th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. And because it's the second half, we have the opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. But before that happens, usually he has a few things to say. And please go ahead, Mr. Keshe, if that is the case.
Oh, there's not much to say this week. As we are all moving along and things getting done, and we move to the next stage of development and work and everything else which goes with our work. If there are any questions, if I remember anything, I'll let you know. It's just that don't forget the May session will be kept as it has been announced, and we try to what we call keep everything in order, that we see what we call how things move on, and how we what I call organize ourselves into a new structure and work. And we try to meet on the 16th of May for the first session of Transmutation. And maybe in the June session, most of your participants will be observers than participants. And that'll be a very interesting point for us to, what do you call, try to achieve, and we'll see how things take shape. But in general, we are standing there. Pardon?
So that's on the Friday the 17th, correct, of May? The third week in May for the Transmutation?
May, yes. And we, as I said, most of you in June session, we hope, if we get everything right, will be observers than what we call participant in the session. But we'll see how our team develop things and how things take shape. And then we come about to structure things the way it should be. There's one thing that a lot of knowledge seekers, since we announced the closure at the end of the, what we call our product range, have come in to open their section to their shops or their retail work or whatever to the company to sell the products of the Keshe Foundation. As I said, we respond to you. There is allocation for this. These allocations will transfer into new product range if you want to carry on, which gives it a totally new structure. And we had a number of people making inquiries that they would like to open a shop in the, whatever we call it, in the country or whatever. We agree to it open up. They have no problem with that. But you got to learn in the next few months is not just the headband or the mask or the pillow. It'll be the cooker, the washing machine, the, what do you call it, your hair dryer and the car and everything else which goes with it. As we expand the, what we call our work, new technologies will be applied, and then it'll go all with it. And then it'll be your, what do you call it, garden hose to come to your shoes and your clothing and everything else. So if this initial step is there for you, then we take it up to the next step to support you. Any other question? Or if there's any question.
Yes. Let me see where to start here. Let's start with the YouTube question that came in from 777 Paulina. It says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. My question is, if we travel by a craft, then decide to transmute from the craft and back to the craft, is this possible? Or would our soul want to go back to our home?
Yeah, no, it goes to the position of the desire, position of the place you want to. There are ways, there are methods to do this. I explained this once, how you do possible way of doing it is what we call the Jewish promise. In the olden days, when you were a diamond dealer, you left a stash behind that this was my word, this is my guarantee. And you always went back to fulfill your guarantee. You do the same, you leave a marker that this is where I want to come back to. But there should be no problem once you learn the art of it.
Okay,
The
thank you.
beauty, let me
Sorry,
explain
go
something.
ahead.
The beauty with what we have done, that the governments will come to understand. When we gave the keys in 2011, 2012 to governments, and you all raised your hand and arms and you shouted, oh, he betrayed us. Thousands of knowledge seekers left the Keshe Foundation because said he didn't give it to us, he gave it to the government. And then we gave it to you in 2016. This time, you lot unknowingly have bypassed and preceded the government. The way we've done this is through spreading obsolescence in the headphone and the unit and communication bundles. In a way, governments cannot govern. Governments cannot stop the process of transmutation, as the system for it is spread across to tens of you and increases by 10 or 15 units a month. When I open the door of the knowledge how to use your cosmic bundles, then you understand what really is communication bundle. Years ago, I used to operate in Congo. And when we wanted to speak to our guys in the mountain region where the diamonds used to be dug and collected, we had to go to a telephone box room somewhere in town, make an appointment for a day or two ahead for somebody who was on the next line to tell somebody in the village or place where our team was, to be on the phone in 2 days' time, that we're going to call and we're going to make conversation, what we're going to do, what was supposed to be shipped, and the rest of it. Because there was only one telephone between what we call Kinshasa and our offices in the mountains. Those of you who have bought and you are receiving the cosmic communication bundles, you missed the point. It's not there to do, hi darling, how are you? It's called cosmic communication bundle. And those of you who have access to obsolescence, because we can transfer communication of the obsolescence into a communication bundle system, are those men with a phone, the only phone in town which can talk to the mountain. And you understand, by spreading these, and hopefully by the time we get to Washington, there should be a couple of hundred of these in the hand of you lot. Then we teach you how to do the transmutation. It'll force the government to oblige to the new technology. This is the way I foresaw it about 10 years ago, and this is the only way which we had to spread the technology in the hand of the people, that the governments know the technology already exists. You become that man with a box with one telephone sitting in the back streets of Kinshasa. But this time, you carry the knowledge and the power in the systems you carry. And you'll understand the technology now is in your hand. And very soon, this technology of cosmic ray communication will be shared with one of the most powerful communication companies in the world. In a way, we make the mobile phones as part of the cosmic communication system. Then you understand how, by giving you the power, by sharing the knowledge, and you are the trustees of the knowledge, we will change the communication system, and at the same time, the what we call transmutation, transportation, and the new rules and regulations. So those of you who receive the headphones and the thing, safeguarded, you're the guardians of humanity for the new technology. And when we call upon you, you do. Show you how to use it. And then we bring you into part of the structure to guarantee governments cannot block this technology. They block the teaching of the technology, but we develop the technology with you lot for it not to be unblocked. In a way, by blocking the Keshe Foundation from public domains, what we call media, we became like what they call underground development structure, which really this time has overtaken the guys above the ground. But that's in knowledge and technology. So, guard these units you receive with your life. And then tell you what is the next step. We test with you, we work with you, we use the obesal head units. It's just for us to gather more information, what works, what doesn't work, and what needs to be done. And then we'll see the next step and next stage. And as I said, our price of $1 for Tesla cars for the whole company is still on the table. Any other question?
You may have at least partially answered this question, but we had a question in French that had come through by email, and it was about what you're just talking about, and the question was, will this technology be available to the entire population, or will it be reserved for a specific group of people? And if yes, the communication units will be delivered to the population around June, as the foundation announced?
We already have. We start sending these out since last November. The first batch of the vessels and the communication bundles were shared amongst the trustees of Knowledge to Keshe Foundation in the conferences in London. And since then, others which we trusted with have received their headphones and the base unit. And I was talking to the head of our organization in that side last few days. We expect to deliver 15 a month. So you can see by May, June, July next year, it'll be about 200-300 of these around with you trustees, with your knowledge seekers.
Okay, very good.
It's not something that's going to happen, it's the process of what we can produce. They're time consuming, they're laborious in their work and getting it done. And many of you have already received these units. Not something is going to be done. It's just that, what do you call it? As it's produced, it's getting delivered and it's shared in two halves. So the head one goes out first. You confirm you receive the head part, and we will send you the transmitter side. Any other question?
Okay, we have a couple of hands up here, and Giancarlo, allow him to speak. And he had a question in the Q&A. I'll read the question, and maybe it's the same as what he would like to say. It says, in previous workshops, you talked about the relationship between... Is that... Hello? Would you like to go ahead?
Ciao. Io parlo in italiano, mi arrangio, posso...
You need an Italian translator. Okay.
Posso parlare?
We got...
Sure.
Posso parlare? Can I to talk?
Yes.
I don't speak English, but in previous workshop you talked about the relationship between the organs and the solar system. For example, Jupiter brings the river fields. But are there relationships both between planets and physical as the organs, but also between planets and the soul of physicality or soul or men? Are they related of the instant of birth? Avete capito l'italiano?
I wish I could. I lived there 6
Lo leggo in
years. I still
italiano.
don't understand. Wait, let's see. Is it just wait?
If you can,
Lo dico in italiano.
Rick,
I can read
the
in
workshop
Italian.
Keshe ha parlato dei rapporti fra gli organi e il sistema solare e ha detto che Giove porta i campi del fegato relativi agli organi. Volevo chiederti se questi rapporti sono anche
Giancarlo,
che fa
just a minute.
E organi.
Wait.
Just a minute. Yeah,
can you put your question in writing?
He's put it in writing. It's in the Q&A here, and I was starting to read it at first. And he's talking about in previous. Just a minute, Giancarlo. In previous workshops, you talked about the relationship between organs and the solar system, and then he makes the comparison with Jupiter. It brings the liver fields or connects with the liver fields. But he says, are the relationships both between planets and the soul of physicality or with the soul of the man? And are they related to the point of birth, the instant or time of birth?
This is a misunderstanding. No, wait, please wait. This was put as similarity, not connection to. It's a big difference. Your translator or whoever translated the teaching has to make it clear. It's like Jupiter, like kidney. Not Jupiter is connected to kidney, if I understood your question correctly.
He said liver, but
liver,
Jupiter
whatever. It was just an example how each solar system, each entity, each planet in solar system has a function. Not Jupiter does what the liver does. You understand? It was to explain the work of, not Jupiter is connected to the liver or to the solar physicality. It's similarity of the work, but not connected to each other.
Not a direct connection, but a similar connection. Similarity. Yeah. Okay. Perhaps Stefania can help with that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Are you part of Giancarlo? Are you part of the Italian translation right now group? Have you found that in Zoom here? And can you understand what I'm saying? There's
we have yes, we are.
Yes, but I don't speak well English, but
No.
I traduttore. I am a traduttore. I have tradutte very book in very language.
Okay, but are you part of the Zoom Italian group right now that's translating this workshop into Italian live with Stefania? Stefania, can you maybe direct him? Maybe you can type in the chat and try to direct him how to connect with your group there, if he isn't already. Oh, I see you put in. Okay, he's listening to the translation. Okay, very good.
Thank you very much. This is one of the biggest problem, and this has become more and more apparent in the past few weeks and months to us, that a lot of our translators don't translate exactly what should be translated. They translate what they think is the meaning of the word. And this has caused a massive problem for us in a couple of languages, because our knowledge seekers are not qualified to translate, and they accept the responsibility of translating, and they totally misrepresent the language of translation, because they don't understand it themselves. And this is by the communities have to be sorted out, who, if you think you understand the English well enough that the translation done to your understanding is not correct, you have to tell your group that you need the translation to be more precise, or somebody who understands more in detail. We just come to understand after years that one of our translators has said to himself, I have no clue about the technology. Why do you translate if you don't have no clue about technology? And this is important. Our translators, please, and those of you who understand the language which your translator translate to, please clarify with them. You don't, because it's your right, you don't translate exactly, precisely, or this is not the meaning of the word. It's good that they learn as much as you learn, but the transfer of knowledge and the information is correct. This misrepresentation of language by somebody who doesn't understand and stays close to the foundation created huge damages for us. We're just coming to understand more and more. And it's the responsibility of you, if you are Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese, Italian, German, whatever, you understand, you have a good grasp of the language, and you don't see the translation to be in the air, talk to your translators. Or share the translation with the people who understand more or more fluent in that the knowledge is transferred the correct way. The strangest thing for me was to listen to hear that the translator, the one who represents us, tell the people, I know nothing about this technology, I don't even understand it. If you don't understand it, why do you translate it? Why do you take that position to be a translator? It's lying to yourself and lying to the people. But thinking I'm translating the best I can does not do, because it gives misinformation unwillingly, but it creates a problem. Any other question? Are you there, Ray?
Yes, thank you, Giancarlo. And mute your microphone now. And
posso dire, no, volevo dirgli, no, non traduco dall'inglese, io sono uno scrittore, un writer, e io metto in un italiano più corretto le traduzioni che mi vengono date già in italiano. Se no sembra che io traduca l'italiano, capito?
We need somebody to translate.
Non faccio, cioè io non sono uno scrittore, ho scritto diversi libri e conosco bene l'italiano. Metto in un italiano più comprensibile la traduzione che mi viene data dagli altri del nostro gruppo.
Okay, I think maybe that was directed to the Italian group. So I'm going to mute you now, Giancarlo. Thank you.
Any other question?
Okay, from our Thomas has a hand up here. Let's go to him. Then there's a couple more questions in the Q&A as well.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning, Rick. I have just something interesting has happened this week. There was an interview for Mr. Sebrell by Mike Adams and Joe Rogan. And this Mr. Sebrell was talking about the NASA fakery that they have not been to the moon, the Americans. It's the first time we hear that all these things were made in America, the films, and that it would have been impossible with the
Can I intervene? Can I explain something?
Please.
Now, Indian, Chinese, and a few other nations, Russians, or are landing and will land in the coming years on the moon. In addition to Keshe Foundation, Space Technology, and other private organizations which are working, we are not the only one. Soon we'll pay a visit to this place where Americans supposedly landed. And this question will be resolved forever. And it's no use getting involved in controversy of they did, they didn't do. What we call Chinese are, they've said by 2030 they will colonize the South colony on the moon. And one of the things we'll see most probably going to the place where paying homage to where the man says landed the first time. So I hear a lot of these things what you're talking about, and there's a lot of claim and counterclaim and fakeness and whatever. This is on the card. It's just, would we land in next 12 months systems through gravitational system, and would we go to the dimensions of the place where they say they landed, unless they come up and say, oh, aliens hijacked our unit, it's not there anymore, and the flag is gone. So it's just a matter of a handful of years, which this will be resolved. And it's like everything else. They claimed, and that claim put other nations to match up to, and it's brought our knowledge forward. It's made the Russians eager to get in, the Chinese and the Indians. And so it hasn't been bad, but if it's been a lie, it's got a few more years of living it. And then there comes the question of, do we ever trust Americans if it's a lie? So just we believed them for 50 years, another 5 years doesn't make much difference.
Mr. Keshe, I thought it was very interesting at this very moment that this came out from this Mr. Strebel in talks with Mike Adams and Joe Rogan, that this was a fakery, that this was a lie. I think it is very interesting to know from this man that apparently it would have not been possible to send humans to the moon through the Van Allen belt because it would be too dangerous. We would die.
This has been addressed. This has been addressed several times, and many times over in the last 50 years.
Right.
Thomas, this is not something that should be even talked about here. We can look at the Chinese have already photographed the footprints of the original footprints. Talk to the Chinese; they already know about this from their lander.
Let me finish my thought. What is very
well, you should listen to Mr. Keshe. He doesn't want you to finish your thought.
Listen to Mr. Keshe. The question here is that we can send material.
Do go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Let him speak. Don't disconnect.
Okay.
Let him speak.
Sorry, go ahead.
Shall I say something or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Keshe, the question was in these two interviews that this man said it is absolutely no problem that we can send different materials to the moon because the materials are not affected by the Van Allen belts. However, the man as a living unit is affected, and therefore we were not able to go there. So I thought it very interesting that this comes at the same time as you tell or you make us understand that there is a possibility of transmuting the soul of the man and transporting the soul of the man. Of course, then we are not affected by the things of the Van Allen belt. That I found it interesting that it's coming at the same sort of time, like something which sort of comes to the same conclusion at the same time. That I found very interesting, and therefore I think will be very interesting to see how the Chinese or the Indians or the Russians, whoever, will solve this problem to be able to transmute man.
The thing is, the technological advancement is so rapid, especially in past 6 months. The whole space technology, the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, in past 12 months especially, has moved and more concentration on plasma development. And some of it we see is a fingerprint work of the Keshe Foundation. A lot of scientists in these organizations listen to the teaching. We have a broad base in all of them, in all aspects. And it's inevitable, this is why we opened a patent, that through their understanding, through their education, through their evaluation, elevation of the knowledge, they will reach new levels of understanding in science. We see NASA striving with plasma technology. Chinese are deeply involved in. The same are the Russians. Indians are hanging along, but what is very interesting, a comment from a very high-level guy, he says, we let Musk play his rocket game just to be busy and keep the others busy while we have already moved on. As I was speaking with him regarding his, what do you call it, new space technology, he is trying to move into what we call zero gravity again now himself. He's going to lose his, the, what do you call, a space company, and we offer $1 for his car company, and then you see, at the moment he's a bogey guy. And keeping concentration there, moving to plasma technology now is a work of all the space agencies, without a doubt. And they're using, we see them, they communicate with us in different ways, trying to access the knowledge. So, sooner or later, we will achieve, we'll land, we will show a lot of things. But if you understand the technology of the transfer, everything is possible. There's no impossibilities. And I always say, it's very interesting when you say if they've been to the moon and matter has been changed. I've been one of those who've been touched by this moon landing at a young age. The American government gifted a small piece of a stone to Iran to be shown in what we call the main square museum up in Tehran. And I queued for hours to see this. So a lot of us are captured by man landing, and a lot of queued a lot of hours to see a little stone of the moon. And as I said before, when I went back to Iran in 2008, I went to the center because the center is between the research center and where I resided. I was kept. I had to pass it every day. One day I decided, I went in and I asked a question. Has the stone from the moon kept? They said, oh, that was all lies. It never existed. It's not here. It's never been here. And I queued for hours to see that stone from the moon. We all had a few seconds to glance because the queue was so long. We believed in it. We are children of that generation. And let's see if they fooled us or it's been there. We'll see. But too many are landing. Too many landing. One of my programs with the Chinese is between 6 to 12 landing in one day, to show that breaking the what we call the whole taboo about transportation. If we come to full work with the Chinese space people, we plan to land something like 6 to 12 crafts at the same time in one day. And this will break the taboo of weeks and months on the way.
Mr. Keshe, what I think is the most interesting part about all that is that your teaching about the gravitational and electrical and so on, all the fields, is very clear. And I hope that thanks to your teachings, the man from NASA and the Chinese and so on will go further with your thinking.
We are
that it is important that we can transmute.
Let me explain. The knowledge does not belong to us. It's a gift.
Absolutely. You know,
And a
maybe
gift,
I
listen,
expressed
a gift,
myself wrongly. I
is
just
given.
think that
A gift.
your thinking, Mr. Keshe, is so much further than all these so-called big shots from NASA and so on. I think it's absolutely fantastic that these people now are going on to your way of thinking.
No,
And
the knowledge was inevitable going that way. It's just a matter of who that realized the
but how long
principle.
did they work against you, Mr. Keshe?
Doesn't matter. The whole
Of course. No.
you
I'm
see,
absolutely
let me
understanding what you
explain.
say. I just thought it very, very interesting that finally the ideas and the teachings of Mr. Keshe will be taken over by all these university big shots, and they come away from all these ideas of Einstein and I don't know what all, because everything is very, very different, but it is the direction of Mr. Mehran Keshe. That is the basis for future development.
We hope it's used a peaceful way. It just depends on how much we can educate the next generation.
Absolutely.
And to what extent and speed we educate the next generation.
And I think you are expedient. You are the one who makes this possible. I'm just flabbergasted that this suddenly comes at the same time.
It has to.
Of course, Mr. Keshe, absolutely. But it took so long till these people woke up to your.
No, let me. No. Let me explain to you something.
Yes, please.
We have a number of advantages at the present time. We have a better communication system. We have much more educated people. And one of the main points that is intriguing is what we gave to governments. Somebody we can hear, who's this in the background? It's a microphone open. Mr. Thomas, I think your microphone is open. The important thing is, and this is vital for knowledge seekers to understand, we see evolution in science and technology, in plasma, nanotechnology, energy, and everything else. And if you go back to all these brings an essence since 2005, 2006, when we start teaching opening up. And most of the direction and dimensional changes of the major governments is since 2012, since we gave the keys to the government. We speak to the scientists, which they tell us in 2012 they received part of a knowledge they were asked to evaluate or to replicate. So even with MOS, even with new, what we call space technologies, when we speak to scientists from a space organization, we speak at the edge of the science, Ericsson and the others, they tell you that we are using your technology. And that was the purpose. And if some of them evolve and go to the point of understanding or maturing or developing new technologies for it, totally was the whole purpose of giving the technology freely on a USB stick. Government didn't receive a USB with all the patterns, all the know-how and everything, and they just shelved it. Very few, because they couldn't understand, they didn't have the educated. And those who have are working on it. They see it works. They see the difference of. But there are certain principles which is in-house kept and not released. And this is where the difference comes. Where we make the difference, we made the difference by releasing the key 12 years ago. And all these public teachings, they got the key, they attend all these teaching, they listen to the teaching offline, and they compare what said, which really fits into the structure of the key they received and how they can apply it. In the past few weeks, we've been asked by military to join in to complete certain part they couldn't understand. And this is a military side, not the civilian side. And that was the whole purpose of giving the key, educating for 10 years, and now we have to see the result. Now we have a better communication. Out of hundreds of thousands of you listening to this teaching of this week, 3, maybe 5% are the elite scientists from around the world, from different organizations, sitting what they can grab, what they can take. I know 2 nations that they have a team who's sitting now listening to the teaching, deciphering word by word and how it can be applied. They are like what we call a team put together by governments who sit religiously in every teaching and decipher word by word what is said, how it can be converted into a technology or knowledge to give the military or defense or technological advantage. And I'm sure it's more than 2. We know 2 of them. It's not that you just listen and you go. Tesla has a team sitting on every teaching. And if you want, I can give you examples. One by one, they replicated our products. So they try to put a twist to it, they can't pattern it, and they market it. And this is, that was the whole purpose, to spread the knowledge amongst people. Who does it, how does it, the way it does is irrelevant if it's to benefit of mankind. You all have the maglev system with 30% reduction. Hasn't Tesla delivered the same thing in the socket? It's a maglev system twisted in a different way. You go and pay a few hundred to Tesla. Haven't they done with the battery? Hasn't he now trying to do zero gravity? Tesla has become what we call the board of Tesla, and the gentleman on the top have become exactly the same as Stephen Hawking. They breathe, they eat from the, not only us, from others as well. This is why patents have no value, and the governments are gradually coming into it. Any patent which relates to plasma, quantum physics, nanotechnology, in past especially 6-7 years, cannot be patented. Even if a patent granted, has to be revoked because its Keshe technology has been in public, as we saw with the Ministry of Defense of the United States in 2020. So it is us as a lot on the way we keep things going. We're just lucky to be enough to be able to share knowledge. Any other question?
Okay, good. Let me see here. Let's get back to our Q&A with Trevor. who says, Mr. Keshe said that Cyrus the Great was the only prophet who dedicated himself to one woman his entire life, and that is the way it is supposed to be. He later made it clear that all the other prophets created conflict because of or for the acquisition of women and power over other peoples. I am curious, why is it so important that we are made to be dedicated to one woman? Or is it just for the position of the prophets of the past?
I have a beautiful cousin, and I met her when I was in Iran. And she has a beautiful philosophy, as I said it before. She says all the holy books talks about the men having one woman and whatever, or 4 women. It doesn't say anything about how many men and husbands women can have. He says, show me one book. It talks about adultery, but it doesn't say if a woman can marry 2 men or 10 men illegally. Adultery is when one other know, but if you know I'm married another man, it's supposed. Because you have to understand the culture of Middle East at the time. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish, whatever. Before Islam, one woman could have 9 or 10 husbands, because there was a shortage of women. Men accepted that they shared, and every caravan came, he's here for 2 or 3 weeks, he was a husband for those 2, and they commonly raised children. When Muhammad said 1 woman for, 1 man for women, that's why he was so popular. The same was with others. So it doesn't go by that. It goes by how it suits at the time. Even they say they're supposed to be what's good for me, but not good for the others. Even Baha'u'llah Brazil had 2 wives. And it was supposed, he says, everybody has to have one wife. An equality to women. He didn't even follow his own teaching. And it's what we call the same with the Christ, and the same with Moses and the rest. As I always say, we come or we manifest in the body of the man or enlighten the man to enjoy the dimension of physicality, but it has to be the correct way. And we live by example. And it's part of it, the way as we see now the Muslims follow Muhammad way, Christians the same, and the Jews and the rest are all follow the same way as what they said. And that's why I say Keshe Foundation is not a religion, it's a scientific organization. Otherwise we'll make new rules, how many wives and how to do this and how to do that. It's a creation of the dimension of understanding one's truth about himself or the environment they live in. And you cannot separate the two. And many times it's come with it, because that was a sign of power. How many women you could please, then you were a good leader. We have it now, the same animal behavior with all the world leaders. Look at the Saudis, look at the Islamic world, look at the, how many kings and queens have mistresses and misters and everything around them. It's always been there. It's the way they live by it. How can a king have 82 children from 20 odd women? They play with it the way it does. So it goes according to what if it fits. Or befitted them, for them to be separate. Muhammad stayed loyal to his wife till he was 52. When she died, he went right across 19 women he married, had as wives. At least he made it legally, as they say. Christ had the whole, God knows, Jerusalem under his arm. Any other?
Okay, we have a couple of Gans questions that came in by email. Let me see here. The first one is from, I think it's a Bulgarian person. It says, hello, from Andrew. Hello, can you tell me how to make GANs from silver and from gold and from platinum? I try different ways and I can't do it. I would be grateful if you could help me.
Try again. Try again. Try again. Next one.
All right. This will probably be a short answer as well. I've been making it. It's from Fred or Alfred. I've been making GANs for almost a year. I would like to know the position of the Keshe Foundation regarding Ormus. Is it a GANs? Can we drink it as it is sometimes suggested?
Ormus has got nothing to do with Gans. And this all came in because of one knowledge seeker which came in deliberately to create mayhem in Keshe Foundation in 2012. Ormus is a different process. Ormus is a different thing. Gans is a different thing. And go and ask those who, produce and create Ormus. It's totally different understanding of the creation. Anything else?
Okay, back to our Q&A here in the Zoom from Hong, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe, thanks a lot for your teaching. In your recent teaching, you talked about not absorbing too much. Otherwise, we may get cancer of the soul as we can't digest it and hold it in. I'm thinking before you said that zinc fields can help us elevate our souls. Should we also absorb zinc or whatever higher order fields moderately? How much these fields should be absorbed? How do we judge that we absorbed enough?
Feeding the soul is different than feeding the man. And what it needs to elevate, or what you call it, reach new levels. And that once you come to understand, works through cosmic rays. And doesn't come by zinc and copper and the rest. And this is why we introduced the, what do we call it, cosmic materials. And we are very, very careful. We are producing these materials, and we're just trying to make sure when we send them out in the next few days, the containers cannot be breached, that people can reach it. You can use the fields of it, but you cannot touch it, and never try to touch it. And this is the reason for it. And the elevation of the soul through cosmic ray doesn't come by zinc and copper. When you breathe, when you eat, when you put the seed of the interaction with the fields of the universe, it's not the air you only breathe. You breathe cosmic rays, different strengths, which feeds the soul. The physical air, oxygen, goes to your lung to convert. The energy of the cosmic rays you breathe goes to the soul of the man. The way you put that little seed at a time into your stomach as a food to absorb the other 80%, simultaneously you embed the energies of the universe to feed the soul of the man, which just passes through the back of the tongue of the man. You literally shoot it in. And what it needs, it receives. It continuously, this is what I just explained with the transportation and transmutation. Once we breathe, We breathe as part of the structure, even we have taken, because we change into a plasma condition in our mouth, releases the energy of the cosmic rays, which is within that material, to the soul directly, and the others go to the stomach as a physical damage. So man should have understood this very much, by why we need so many years to breathe so many times to get our souls to a point that it matures to separate from the physicality. Just sit down and calculate how many times a minute you breathe, how many an hour, how many a day, and what's the average life in your magnetic field environment. Multiplied by that, you see then how many times you have taken from the fields of the universe as part of the cosmic rays that has matured your soul and extended so much that it can leave the physical. In the future, man will have these measurements. Now we understand the knowledge and science behind it. And then you understand why our lives are limited to a physical dimension of so many years, Earth time. When we learn how to tap into fields of the universe, and then into the material matter of this Earth, then you see the life expectation and time goes beyond hundreds and thousands. Where then we learn to convert that, what we call cosmic rays, into the physical dimension energy. And I've shown this in many tests, but you don't understand. And as the time comes, we explain more and more of it. But you don't need to eat to elevate or to find. You already, the way you breathe, the amount of time you absorb energy, put the seed in, the soul absorbs the rest from the environment from what you put in. Any other question?
Okay, a question in the YouTube from Peng Peter, who says, people tend to stick to something they are familiar with. When we transmute, would most people end up in planets that were created by our ancestors that bear characteristics of Earth?
Maybe. Maybe initially. Quite possible. Quite possible. One of the first things we see, it's very interesting, is, you know, when you're Italian, you can go somewhere, you're in Australia, your ancestors came from Italy. One of the first places, or near first places, you will go back to Italy to see Italy where your ancestors came from, or once a cousin could be there still. But the soul will follow the same pattern because it's got a line of connection, a strong line of connection. And it's possible, yes. Any other question?
From this new in the Q&A, says some of us applied to be satellites. What would confirmation of being satellite? How should we understand this?
We announce it and you feel it. You will understand exactly when you come into operation. We don't need any headset. Those who are satellites, your soul has brought you in. Your physicality is just a tool. You will understand the way we set up the Universal Council and the Earth Council. Those who came in as what I call fake Universal Councils, we see them disappearing because it was advantageous. So those who stay are there and they'll be there. And so it's the same with satellites. Satellites will feel the operation, will tell you when it starts, and you feel it because you have to, in a way, subconsciously or consciously be aware of being a satellite. And it will bring into operation. We are very close to it. You feel it. Because there's one key element with satellites which we need to connect to, and when we are ready scientifically, we connect into, and it's not very far. Any other question?
Okay, a couple more to go here. We have Antonio in the Q&A. Mr. Keshe, with the difference in languages around the world, will the transmutation process mean that all languages can be understood automatically?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You know, you go to Italy in your dreams and you speak and everybody speaks English, even they're all Italians. It's the same way. You never thought about it. Just think for a few seconds. Next time when you have a dream or go back in the dreams, you remember, if you remember any of it in the past, when you're German and you go to Italy, you speak German in your thoughts and they all speak German. What happened? Did you go there and you get fed up, you keep on speaking German and nobody answers you because nobody knows German, and you come back? This is a very interesting point. You understand exactly what I mean. If you're bilanguage or you speak 3 languages, because I speak 2 languages fluently, and this has been an amazing thing for me, I experience it. When I speak to my family, I speak to them Farsi in my dream. And when I speak to my family who are English, I speak English to them. And hello, where does it come? And when you go somewhere else in your dream, you speak English, I speak English back. And nobody speaks English. So, yes, you automatically pick up the essence of the language through the soul. I have a gift given to me by one knowledge seekers when I travel around China. And it's an amazing machine. It's a little handheld machine, smaller than a mobile phone. And it speaks different languages. You press one side, automatically translate to Chinese, to Italian, to German, whatever you like, and they press the other side and speak it, translates it to English. So all the languages speak English, and it's amazing. I said, when this comes, is the way our soul works. So yes, it's the emotion of time and place that could translate into the language. Any other question?
We had a question in German from Renate, and it was regarding a previous comment you made, and they're saying, does this mean that we, the soul, absorb cosmic rays through saliva?
No. We absorb cosmic rays in many, many directions. But the example of the food was one. The new systems which Keshe Foundation delivers in agriculture and material production, which come into operation in the next few months, we deliver energy to the soul of the plant, to the soul of the seed, to the satisfaction of the seed. We'll create material, first the soul of the material, and then the material. And then it befits. If I create plutonium, and your intention is to make a weapon out of it, to damage another person, that plutonium will not take a structure. Because it's created through the soul, and the intention of the soul we gave it was for peaceful purposes. We cannot break our code. Doesn't matter how clever nuclear physicists you are to make it a bomb. Any other question? Or have we answered them?
Oh, there's still a couple more left here. Let me see. Let's go to Ed in the Q&A. It says, hi, have you seen the video of the Jellyfish UFO flying over the American Army base in Iraq and how it pulses back and forth from transparent to black, but can't be seen with the eye, only in infrared? Could you explain what's happening?
I haven't seen one. No comment.
I haven't seen that one either. And also, do the cosmic ray dust act as a tool to help aid transmutation or amplify the absorption of fields?
Depends what we want to use it for. Depends what you want to use it for. It does a lot of things. Any other?
Says, finally, maybe I compile excerpt screenshots of the technology and print and plaster it everywhere on the walls. Is that all right?
It takes a lot of printing.
Printing Gans ink, and you'll have a real good wall connection there. Is there any connection from Lisnu in the Q&A? Is there any connection between satellites and the development of cosmic ray materials?
No. No.
Okay.
We're still looking for a container for these cosmic materials. Maybe we find it and we can conclude to start delivering it, because we got the materials. It's just containment the way we want it, and they can be beneficial for everyone to use it. Any other question?
We're getting toward the end here. From Cristiano in the Q&A, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Or it's from Josafa from the Brazilian community. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for the teachings. In past teachings, you talked about devices communicating without any physical connection. If devices don't have an emotion but create it in interactions, if devices don't have an emotion but create it in interactions. My question is, do devices communicate through the emotion of the creator's soul or from their own fields?
It's from their own fields, because different people have different emotions to it. There is part of the technology which we do not teach, and I don't think is appropriate to teach, but unknowingly in teachings and in construction of our system, I apply it. And that is, as I say, my will is my command. No one can use any of the system to harm another. And he cannot even use to elevate your soul to harm your physicality. Self-inflicting wounds by the soul of the man is impossibility. Any other question?
You had a second question. The field flow of systems or devices always works in two directions. Is it possible to build a device that conducts the fields in just one direction and works like a diode? Could you share how to do it?
Oh, yes, it can be done, but it's a different technology. You cannot stop it, but there's a way to change it, which means it operates on a different connection. But you can make systems to block certain rays, yes, it's possible. There are materials which knowledge seekers don't have access to, we have. And we actually were testing one last week, and we literally block cosmic rays in accessing where we don't want it to be accessed. And it's very effective. We can't. Shall we call it a day?
Well, we've got one hand up. Perhaps we can allow Carl to his question.
Yep.
Go ahead, Carl.
Thanks, Mr. Keshe. Tuning in here from Central Highlands, Australia. And my question today revolves around the discipline of living within the fields of the man, the soul, and the planet. How disciplined do we have to be, and what sort of practice do you think we should be building into our routines to try and connect with that flow?
You depend, you want to do it the hardest way or you want to do it the easy way? The hardest way, go through the physical part. The easiest way is to go through the central energy, what we call the soul. Changing fields downwards is slightly easier than adding up upwards. And then how to deal with your soul, your central energy, and that automatically sorts everything else out down the line. You don't need to do much.
You've got me talking to my soul, trying to connect in with it. How you know?
Don't try to talk to your soul. This is a mistake most of you make. Try to understand the emotion of your soul and you're talking to it. It's a big difference. You always ignore it. And that's why you're in this dilemma. As long as you're talking to your soul, you're talking to the wall. If you understand the emotion of your soul, you've got the key to its operation and the physicality together.
Wow, I'd love another tip on how to feel the emotions of the soul.
Let me just check something, just wait. Just 1 second. I'm trying to share something that you might understand. This comes from the test run of last week. Then it's very easy to I have a very clear picture you can see. One of the measurements, it is let me see if I can find
Mr. Keshe, we're not able to hear you, or at least I'm not.
I
Try
can.
again. You can?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my microphone is open.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm fine because I'm looking for something. It's a very interesting point. I show you in I have to save it to be able to share it. Just bear with me. We produce so many graphs and so many data. You want to see something I want to show you something very clear in how your soul and the soul of physicality, or you stay physical. Just wait 1 second. And it's just, bear with me 1 second. I have to find the right graph. Okay, I'm going to go and share with you on the other side that you can all see. I'll go and share photos. I have to choose. As some of you have been with us before, you know this is a state that is neutral. The system has now connected and or is connected. You try to switch between the physicality and the soul energies. The green is the soul. The one you see a purple pink, that purple is the soul of physicality, and in there you see just below the purplish the yellow colorish. You see yellow color. Whenever you see yellow color, is physicality. Physicality doesn't have much effect here because the soul and soul of physicality are trying to connect to the system. When we see this, what it means you lot are busy. It's the first 10 or 15 minutes of any session. That physicality has no connection. Soul and the soul of physicality with the purple and the green switching over till we find expansion, and sometimes we see the yellow. Interesting part is this. If you look, you see the yellow, the physicality, is bypassing the soul of physicality, the purple one, and the soul, which is a green one. And they switch. And all the time. This means the purpose of this is we ask them to do something physical. So physicality is operating how much it needs, and that it'll take that much from the space of energy of the soul. The yellow is your physicality, the purple is your energy of the body, what we call the soul, and the green is central energy. So when you look at this picture, you see clearly that this lot are feeding themselves. They're feeding their physicality, using the soul of the man, and you see they're in parallel with each other. But another interesting part is this one. You see this picture, it's very clear. It's mayhem. The soul of the man even tries to the same as you see the physicality and the soul of physicality busy trying to see what they're both feeding. And you see the soul on the other side is peaking, which means it's feeding the need of the both the physical and the soul of physicality. And this continues if you look at it. And then you get the point of, again, trying to balance. But when you look green, the soul is always in control. The physicality and the soul of physicality try to create a skirmish of trying to work together to balance equal to the other side. They can't be more or less, because then it shows what I call all kind of problems. And this is, if I get it right for you to see, when you add these two pictures, there's a gray line in the middle, you have the left and right. When you add this together, it gives you a three-dimensional structure of the soul and physicality and the body. When our technicians complete this to what they call 3-dimension, and they get it right, the soul shape will take place in a shape that out of it, most of cases, we should see the shape of the physicality, how you manifest, the shape of your physical body. And the energy it takes, not the physical structure of your cells or whatever. And in the future, we extend it to organs and the rest of it. So when we add the left and the right of the gray line, you'll get the 3-dimensional. We literally see the structure, how much your soul, if your soul is superimposing the physicality of the soul, and that's the time when we see the transmutation, or when we see this position, which means you are still in a physical condition. And this will give us a lot of data. In the near future, these two will merge together to create the 3-dimensional. And that 3-dimensional, once we complete this, then we can see when you're ready to go, when the transmutation can be completed. Because we see the soul superimposing the physicality. And then when we see the physicality superimposing, you see it here. You look at the magnitude of the green to the magnitude of the yellow. Physicality is a physical body. They're not following the system. They're feeding the physicality. And then when you see the reverse of, then you understand you're in a position of the, what you call, elevation or transmutation. Everything we have is scientifically can be distinguished. This, in the future, when we target it, let's say, on the kidney, we see the reason for the cancer in the kidney or in the liver, and where it is, and how it's elevated, and how it's needed to position. And it'll help to reverse cancers and diseases in seconds, because you can, through cosmic ray, feed the soul to satisfy the need which has created a condition, and through the other dimension you feed the physicality, and that's it. Very soon you see new systems out of the Keshe Foundation cooperation with other organizations, which will speed up very, very fast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we call it a day?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for that additional information there. If anyone does have any leftover questions, please bring them into next workshop. I think we pretty much covered it. There might be one left in YouTube, but I think we're done. So thank you again, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. Okay, we call it a day. Thank you very much for today. And we'll see you next week, hopefully. And those of you who are part of the, what we call monthly sessions, get ready to have some exciting times. We know what you like. We know what you eat. And we are there to start working through a different, what do you call it, channels of work and how things can be done. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you once again for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop, number 536 in this case, on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Thank you, everybody, for attending and for all the great questions as well. Always helps to clarify the teaching and get us to the next position. And let me see what else. Thank you, Jedi Simon, for our background image today. And we have the next public teaching workshop coming up. Just getting the date. That'll be on Tuesday, May 7th. And that will be with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that will start at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. And I think that's all for announcements for now. We'll go out with our Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version as per usual. And I hope we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop. Bye for now, everyone.